Today, what we're going to look at is a classic jazz standard, simple jazz standard, written by Kenny Dorham back in the 1950s. It was played by a number of, well, it's been played by thousands of people, actually. And there's lots to learn here, and so we'll just jump right in. First of all, let's take a look at the key signature. The key signature is three flats. Three flats is normally in the key of E flat or its relative minor of C minor. So in this case, the three flats are in the key of C minor, but it's good to know what its relative major is, because it may make it a little simpler for you later on to solo over if you understand that E flats is the same as C minor. Only the tonal center changes, right? Okay, so the one chord is C minor. There's our tonal center. The four chord is F minor. So 1 to 4, and then we go to the 2 to the 5 and to the 1. So again, 1 to 4, 2, 5, and 1. All of those chords come out of the scale of C natural minor, with the exception of a single note. And that single note is found in the G7 chord. There is a B natural note in that G7 chord that you're not going to find, in the key signature. There's a B flat in the key signature. That's just what we call a leading tone. Right? You get that movement with the G7 to the C minor. Okay, and that's an important thing to know if you're soloing as well, because that leading tone, that B natural note, should be expressed in that G7 chord. Okay, and then what we've got here is a 2 chord, 5 chord, and a 1 chord in the key of D flat major. So this is very clearly a modulation. This modulation lasts for 4 measures, right? So 2, 5, 1, and again D flat major 1. And then we return to 2, 5, 1 in C minor. 2, 5 turns back around to C minor. It's a short form. It's only 16 measures long. So if we take a look at just the form, we have 8 measures of C minor, 4 measures of D flat major, and another 4 measures of C minor with a little turnaround back to the top. Now, as far as the melody is concerned, and let's do sort of a quick analysis of the melody. The first thing I notice on a chart like this is that we have no accidentals in these 8 measures, and what that means is everything is diatonic. So everything is according to one scale. The scale in this case is just C natural minor. And the melody is also in that diatonic scale. Okay, so that's the first 8 measures, and it's pretty straightforward. Then when we go to the next section, as you can see, there are accidentals, and those accidentals are because we have modulated, let's put it that way. And it's the same kind of theme motif. so that was clearly in until the very tag was clearly in D flat. So if we take it from the top. And here we're D flat. Back to C minor. Okay, so you can hear that melody. This chart is out of the real book, and it's a good chart. You know, of course, there's lots of different things you can do with the harmony, but this is just a good foundation and a good place to start. Okay, now what I didn't say at the top is I'm doing this video in a series of 2 videos. The first one, I'm just going through the bones of the tune, of the harmony and the melody, and we'll talk a little bit about how the chords are expressed on the fretboard, as well as the scales, that you might use. And then the second video, I'm going to move to a play-along track, and we'll talk about how to start to solo within a simple jazz standard like this one, Blue Bossa. So let's just talk about the chords a little bit. C minor 7. Now, I should mention, in preparation for this video, I was looking at some other play-along tracks, and there was a substitution of a C minor 6 to rather than a C minor 7. And you really have to sort of watch out with substitutions in some cases. And that's one case. I'm not going to get into this too deeply. But when you play a C minor 6 chord, it has a raised 6th in it, but there's no raised 6th in the melody itself, right? So if you start playing a C minor 6, what you're going to get is an A natural against an A flat that's in the melody. And that's a little on the stinky side. You have to listen for things like that. You can't, chord substitutions are great, but that doesn't mean they work all the time. You still have to reconcile any substitutions that you're going to use with your ears. So anyway, C minor 7, it's a nice idea to just, try playing in a couple of different regions. Remember, we're working toward a play-along track. So if you can start, and there's the 4 chord. My own feeling is that the important thing with comping is that it's solid and the chords are right, because it's not always about the guitar player. Very often the guitar player is in the role of playing rhythm for someone else, horn players and so on. So I think the most important thing is to just stay solid and be able to get through the chords. There's D minor 7 flat 5. D minor 7 flat 5 is also written as D half diminished. The sign for that will be a circle with a line through it. I'm sure you've seen that. That's the same as writing a D minor 7 flat 5 or a D half diminished. Same thing. No difference. Even though the chord says D minor 7 flat 5, which seems to appear to be a alteration of the chord. It's not an alteration of the chord. It comes directly out of the corresponding scale of C minor. there's my flat 5. It's in the scale of C minor. No alterations there. It's just the diatonic 2 chord in the key of C minor. Big deal. Especially to understand these things when you start to solo. This whole first section here, you can just say I'm going to use C natural minor or C Aeolian mode, same deal. I'm going to use C Aeolian mode over the 4 chord, which the 4 chord comes out of. I'm going to use C Aeolian for the D minor 7 flat 5. And for when I get to the G7, I have to watch for that B note, that leading tone. If I want to be, sort of a little more true to the progression. Right. Okay, and then when you get here, as we've already discussed, we have 2 chord, 5 chord, and 1 chord in a modulation. That's D flat. Okay, so when you start to map this out, thinking of soloing, when you map this out, you say, well, the first 8 measures I can just play C Aeolian, and in these middle 4 measures, I'm going to have to play D flat major, right? And then the last 4 measures, again, I can play C Aeolian. I should probably watch for that B natural, which leads to the C note, single note of B natural, leads to that C note. Okay, so back to the chords. So, I would take, oh, by the way, this is the bossa. Let's put it this way with bossa. A bossa is not a swing, right? A bossa is played in straight time. There's no swing in there. Don't swing. It'll turn into a weird cowboy tune or something. And so on, right? When you're playing rhythm, the most important thing is to get the feel right. Right? Yes, the notes are pretty important too, but you have to get those chords happening underneath your fingers and make it feel like a bossa nova. Make it feel like you want to dance to it. You have to feel that rhythm in your body somehow, right? That I can't overemphasize how incredibly important that is. Yeah, you can do some chord substitutions and use different ideas in that way. Maybe we'll just take a look at a couple. C minor 7. You could play a C minor 9 in a short form. Add that maybe, and then we have the F minor 7. I think the F minor 6 would work. D minor 7 flat 5 we can do up here. We could even do it way up here. And G7, I'm just playing a G13 or G13 with an augmented. There's a few you could do there. G13. and or G7 with a flat 9. Abbreviation. The diminished, which is so closely related to well, a diminished chord just look at a diminished chord as a dominant chord, right? So like we had here, there's my C minor, minor 9, minor 11, minor 9, then the 2 in D flat, major 7, 6, 9, major 7, major 7, minor 7 flat 5, G7 with a flat 9 with that just simple one movement, and then returning to the 1 chord, and then minor 7 flat 5. Well, all right. So when you're playing with voicings like that, I'm always keeping the melody in mind. I'm playing the melody in my head while I'm playing chords, and asking myself at all times, does this chord work with the melody? Right. Sometimes it's a matter of duration, but so there's some voicings there you might think about. And naturally, all of these voicings are built on a template of a scale. There's my F minor. There's my D minor 7 flat 5, G7 flat 9 with that. Right. So that's the way to think. So how to prep if you're going to start building an understanding of a tune like Blue Bossa. This is the way to do it. Play around the fretboard. Where look for new chord voicings. Learn the melody. Obviously, and then work around the fretboard a little bit. Get used to that scale underneath your fingers where. Right, wherever it is. And then you have your modulation. And so I have D flat there, I have D flat here. So D flat across the fretboard, C minor or C aeolian across the fretboard. Play with it. That's what it's about. When this is not classical music where you've got one representation of the tune and you just play that over and over again until you've built muscle memory. This is a totally different trip. This is like I need to know where I am all over the fretboard, and so I prepare to be able to solo over this tune. I can comp over this tune. I can do it in different ways with different voicings and so on. Okay, so that was a little prep for this great old tune called Blue Bossa, and remember that this is the first in a series of 2 videos. The next one I'm going to do is just playing, using a play-along track, a backing track, with the elements of this tune, and we'll take a look at a real world kind of approach to soloing over a tune like this. once we, I'm assuming we've built some foundation for the tune. The same process is going to apply to every standard tune that you want to learn. Blue Bossa is a good one because it's not long. It's not loaded with modulations like a tune, for instance, like All the Things You Are. That stuff gets a little more challenging. But Blue Bossa, we've got this short form with a single modulation. Okay, I hope that helps you think about improvisation and think about how to solo. And how to build solos and how to think on the fretboard as well as comp. Okay, good. Thanks a lot. Thanks for stopping by, and I'll see you in the next video. Please like, subscribe, and you know the whole deal. It's a big deal. Give me a comment too. That really helps me to know what's going on. If you've made it this far in the video, to be frank, YouTube's a real trick to teach on YouTube. I've taught for like longer than I care to mention, and when I still have a couple of students. I don't teach much anymore, but I used to teach up to 60, 70 students a week, and when a student sits down and they've got their guitar in their lap, and you know what you did last week, and they play it for you, and you can hear that back, and you immediately can tell if they've been practicing or not. I don't have any of those benefits with YouTube, and which is a drag, actually. It's just simply not the same. If you were here, whoever's looking at this and wants to learn a little bit more about music and expressing that on the 6 strings, these 6 strings. It would be great if I could just have you sitting here and we could play together. Then I would know where you're at. But I don't know where you're at, so comments help me with that hugely. Okay, again, thanks, and stop by for the next video, and we'll use a play-along track and discuss how to approach that. Great, thanks a lot. See you soon.